Hello and welcome to the Board Game BBQ, episode 239, brought to you by Advent Games and our Patreons, of course. You've got Connor here hosting tonight, and I'm joined by, we've taken over the East Coast. We've got all of the East Coast covered. We've got Sarah in Sydney. How you going, Sarah?
Hey, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks. How are you?
How's this? Two in a row.
Right, I know.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like we were just here.
it's like in high school when your teacher puts like a seating plan together, and it's like these two kids, they never work with anyone else, so we'll just put them together.
We'll
the whole
split
time.
them up.
Yeah.
Oh no, sometimes they split you up though.
Yeah. No. The trick is you put them together so they can't distract anyone else. They only distract each other.
Yep.
And if all your problems are condensed in one spot, then you're good to go.
And those kids are a write-off anyway.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's exactly
They're
right.
an atomic bomb waiting to happen, aren't they? Like, that's just going to get worse and spread.
I was just going to say, speaking of not paying attention in school and being a write-off, Adrian joins us from Brizzy.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm a write-off. It's fine.
It's funny because like, I can't remember what it was, but I always find like Adrian, you always have a great, and you don't do it on purpose, I don't think, but like a one-upsman story. So it's like, this one time, like I had a really big night and ended up like on someone else's couch. And it was like, well, one time I had a really big night and ended up in a different European country. And it's like,
in a bin, in a dumpster in a
It's like that time I cooked a meal for Gillian Anderson.
No, you didn't. That is rubbish. But I still don't know if you tell the truth or not.
It's actually true. I was volunteering at a Michelin star restaurant because I was friends with some people that worked there and they didn't get off work until 11. So I was like, I'll just volunteer and help out. And I ended up cooking for, Scully from X-Files.
Oh, wow. Good. My brother would have been so jealous. That was like his boyhood crush.
Like, yeah. But Sarah, you've had some pretty cool news during the week. Do you mind sort of sharing what happened?
Yes, I finally became an Australian citizen.
Yes.
I've been here since I was like 2.
Yeah, well.
I had no idea when like 6 months ago, whenever it was, it's like, oh yeah, I've got to do my citizen test today. I was like, for where? Like for the States? Like
where are you going?
Yeah, what's going on? And then I was like, not here. And you kind of did like a hee like emoji. And I was like, no, like what? So, I mean, I knew like your family was from England and you lived in England. But yeah, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done,
it's
Sarah.
going to be good because and it was really heartwarming. The ceremony was really nice. And it was very like focused on, how diverse we are in Australia. And I think they said something like, more than 50% of Australians are either not born here or have a parent that wasn't born here. And I was like, wow, that's really cool.
It's pretty cool. I think we are a diverse country because we're kind of a new country, right? Like in terms of the actual country. Being the most Australian of the podcast, I actually got sent a survey that you've got to take. Right. So are you ready to take this survey? It's kind of like a quiz.
I have to take it now.
You've got to take it, yeah.
I already did a citizenship test.
This is very short. This is very short, okay?
All right,
so I'll just read it out. It says,
I do like Vegemite.
Says,
is that on there?
Welcome, new resident. Congratulations on becoming a member of the greatest country in the world. As you are a new resident, you are now required to pick a sporting team from one of the 3 major sporting codes because you can't, all right? So you can either pick an AFL team, a rugby league team, or a rugby union team. May I suggest in the AFL, the Geelong Cats, in the NRL, the Canberra Raiders, and in Super Rugby, the Canberra Brumbies.
And what if I don't choose this?
This will determine whether or not we are friends.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just kidding. I know that's the last thing you want to be
Canberra because they're green and they're kind of neutral because they're in between Sydney and Melbourne. So you won't upset too many people.
Really? Is that true?
And they have lots of
really
Queensland
cool
players.
I don't want to upset anyone. I only just become Australian. I don't want to be kicked out.
No, but it is really cool. I don't know if I'd say proud, but I'm happy you're one of us. So, but anyway.
Yeah. I'm proud too. And I liked that there was, there was quite a lot of focus on, it was really cool. There was like an Aboriginal elder who welcomed us to country at the start, and he was like, hey, you're going to now be able to vote and things like that. And there's a referendum coming up, which will affect my people. So, pay attention to that. And it was really cool. He did like a nice speech and told us a little bit of his history and stuff. Yeah, it was really lovely. And I got a scone with jam and cream.
When you said that, I was like, that's not Australian. But then I thought about all the CWA ladies, because most CWA,
That's who it
the country
was.
says,
Yeah.
the country
They're
women's
there,
says,
man.
and it's like cucumber sandwiches and scones,
Yeah.
with jam and cream.
I know which one I'd rather have too.
Yeah, there's cucumber sandwich.
Crunchy water sandwich.
Yeah,
crunchy water sandwich. Yeah.
Anyway, we've waffled enough. This is why us three should never be on a podcast together without someone keeping us in line. We have played a few games last week. Myself and Sarah talked about the Sydney Game Day, so I might go through a couple of those again. And, of course, Adrian was there. 80, what have you been playing lately? Anything you want to talk about?
I was pretty happy that you mentioned Ready, Set, Bet as being your favourite party game.
That was unreal.
I spoke about it before when I sizzled it, actually, and I said that my major concern was I felt that possibly the game was lightning in a bottle. Like it was that one time, that one group. It was great with that group, and it maybe wouldn't happen again. Do you know what I mean? The atmosphere, everyone was up out of their chair buzzing. But we played it at the Sydney Game Day, and that was like, I mean, we did it last time at my house and it was equally as loud, but this time at the game day, it was insane. Everyone, like, it's like, it was 8 o'clock, had a few cocktails. It was a bit raucous. Everyone else is settled in for their nice heavy beige Euro, and everyone in the back is like,
at the time.
Get him up 7, get him up 7, go on 7. And I'm grabbing Connor and shaking him like a ragdoll, and he's huge. And it's just like crazy chaos. And it's really funny because that game, like, it's a lot of randomness, and it's just manic craziness like most party games. But I remember throwing out my chips and keeping like 2 of my tokens ready to go just in case I want to make a really clever bet at the end. And then I went to do that clever bet and there was no clever bets to be made.
Yeah.
It was all gone. And I was like, oh no, I've left it too late. I should have just gone for it.
Fine, clever bet.
Like, sneaky, like, oh, no one's gonna think to bet on this. And then of course someone else has. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
right.
a great game.
Yeah.
It's chaos. Yeah. And even like people came up to us while we were playing it. They were not playing the game. They watched all the madness. And then other people came up and went, I just bought that. And then they bought it watching us all the madness, and they were like sitting back down and playing their other games. It was really good. It's a great game.
The app makes a world of difference, right?
100%.
Like that is,
you can't play about
that's such a good thing. And people will sort of, I think it's definitely cooled in terms of people getting cranky at apps, running games or whatever. But I don't think you'd want some, unless they're really good, doing and now we've got 7 coming out and now we've got 8 out of the gate and blah, 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 like all that type of stuff. You've got to, whereas that does it itself.
Please do it. You were pretty good.
I was about to say, can you do it?
You need 2 sets of dice and do a left hand and a right hand to keep it going nice and quick.
I've been in my fair share of country race meets. But yeah, that was outrageous fun. And there was something in the way that Harry, like he knew he was onto a winner, like when he was setting it up and everyone's kind of like gathered around, and you'd obviously played before and I'd heard about it. And it was just, you could almost feel the anticipation. It's like, let's go, come on. We don't actually care about the rules. We just want to see these horses run across the screen.
Actually, I knew someone else that wanted to play it. So I ran next door and was like, hey, we're going to play Ready, Set, Bet. Like, are you keen to play it? And it's Joe Pepper, one of our patrons, community members, and his partner, Shannon, who's heavily pregnant at the moment, who they'd both come down for the weekend on the spur of the moment. Like the day before the game day, they were like, we're coming down from Brisbane and we're going to come to this massive weekend. And she's like, I think I might just have a little nap in the corner here. And like she sat out a bunch of pillows and had a little nana nap. And I was like, that's amazing. Like I love people that can sleep like that because I'll do the same. I've got no problem with going, I need to get some sleep. I'm going in the corner. But I don't have the excuse of carrying another human. I'm just that lazy.
You just carry a massive ego. That's all.
That's true. That's true. And like, it was great because he came through and it was all excitement, and it's like, it's really weird because there's that little tunnel between the 2 rooms. And I kind of walked in there through the quiet, and it kind of was like going to the races. You come out of that tunnel and everyone's getting all excited and set up. And it was a fantastic game. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean,
I got to say, I'm glad I wasn't playing Brussels like in that room because
it would have been
there'd be 2 things. Yeah, it would be so loud and annoying, but I'd also be like maybe going, I want to play that. Like I can imagine people around you guys like looking and going, I want to be over there having that much fun.
The game envy can be so real at the game days, And I always think there'll be an opportunity to play that. Like that's what I try and focus on. Is like, no.
Yeah.
You're playing a game, particularly a game that you've probably, like for me, I've wanted to play for a while. Don't just get sidetracked with something that's, it's silly fun, right? Like, I'm not going to take a ready, set, bet to my grave. It's not going to be.
You're not going to be buried with it.
No, I'm not going to be buried with it. Not like
fair enough.
Arkham Horror Living card game. What about you?
You know what it's like? Yeah. You know what it's like though? It's like when you go out to lunch with a group of people and like people order better food and you regret your choice.
Yep.
It's sometimes like that at the game day. You see playing something and you're like, I wish I was doing that over there.
It's like, oh yeah. It's like, I won't get chips. And oh my God, I really need chips. Yeah.
I should have had chips. Oh no, don't talk about chips. I'm off chips. I had chips like that weekend so many times. It was insane. Everything came with chips.
That's life in Europe.
Yeah.
It's just chips. Yeah.
It's not much different here. It's like everything you order comes with chips. Anyway.
But other than that, we played Quacks of Quedlinburg with the Geek Up bits now. We're lucky enough to have those Geek Up bits. A friend of ours gave us a set, which was super kind and super grateful for that, because it's quite funny though. Like we played it and I asked Finn about it because obviously me and MJ love the bits. Do you know what I mean? They're really cool. They feel great. They are a different kind of experience in a way. But I asked Finn, I just said, like, what did you think about using the new bits? And he turned around and just was, well, they're good, but it doesn't change the gameplay or any of the mechanics. And I'm like,
yeah,
play, Finn.
You know what you're talking about.
But he's now played 14 games of Quacks of Quedlinburg that we have recorded. And we don't record all of them, so I'd say it's probably closer to 20. But it was his first win today.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah, it was good because he obviously just goes ham. He's like, I don't care. I'm going to push my luck to beyond ridiculous. Yep. But then when that happens, sometimes there are some waterworks. There are some very upset people who were like, dude, we told you not to do it. He's like, yes, but I didn't think it was going to happen to me.
Oh, bless him.
But you know what? We actually played with this is the very first time we've done this. We play with the base game books quite a lot because obviously Finn, it's easy to, there's no teach involved. You're just playing it, so it's easier. But he actually read all the books himself and picked the ones that he wanted to use. Yeah. And he smashed it. He did really well. Yeah. He actually absolutely obliterated us. But it was really good. And there's one in there that was really cool. Is it the raven head? What's the skull? The bird skull?
It's got a raven.
The blue chip.
It's the blue book with the blue chips. There was one in there that I'd never used before, never seen before. And it was, if you pull that out and then place it on your pot, when you then pull out another chip after that, if it's a white one that would make you go bust, you go bust still, but you're allowed to keep your points and your spending money.
Yeah. So if it's the next one,
nice.
It's cool.
Yeah. So if you had the 4 version of that blue chip, you would then up to 4 chips after that be able to still do the same power. So you can just keep pulling chips out the bag and be as cocky as you like, knowing that you won't get to roll the dice, but you're still safe in the fact that you're going to get those points. And it was great fun. That was a really interesting mechanic that I hadn't experienced. So it really kind of gave new life to that game.
I reckon that's probably one of the aspects of Quacks that doesn't get a lot of recognition is the amount of variation that's within the base game itself. Like you've got so many different, ended combinations and, something might be broken, but it doesn't matter because it's a bunch of fun. And it's still relying on luck that you don't draw out the value 7, of the white chips straight away. But oh man, don't talk about Quacks because all I want to do is play Quacks now. I love that.
You've got it right.
Yeah. I've got everything.
Yeah.
Have you got the Alchemist?
I got the Alchemist. Yeah.
Do you rate that?
I actually haven't played it yet. I would like to, but every time it's just like, we'll just play the base game, or with the herb witches as well. So herb. What about you, Sazzle? What have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Race for the Galaxy with Mo, and because he bought me the Steam app, because he had it and he was like, this app is so good. So we've been playing on the app online together, and oh man, I forgot how much I love this game. Like, I mean, I knew I loved it, but we played I think we played 6 games yesterday. So it's so quick. It's like so many different cards. We played with the 4 expansions. So the combinations and crazy zany stuff you can do is insane. You guys haven't played that, right?
No.
I have.
Of you played
I played
it.
like
you have?
Like maybe 3 or 4 times. And it was actually the guy who taught me Res Arcana taught it to me.
Okay, yeah.
But I didn't play it enough to go like, I don't know what the word is, to be hooked by it. Do you know what I mean? Like I played it, I understood what was going on a little bit, but I wasn't like enamored with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's one of those games where like if you get, like you said, you played it heaps with Mo, you get in that groove and that rhythm of just smashing out games back to back. It's one of those ones where you can just keep playing it. And, you know, you get those really tight scores at the end where it's like, oh, I could win this. And then you don't win it. And you're like, oh, I was so close, you know, and it can be really kind of a push and pull tight game. So.
Yeah, and it has that race thing like Res Arcana does.
Yeah.
But it's very different in Res because in Res you know what cards you're going to get. Like, you know,
yes, because you've drafted them or you just know already. Yeah.
You either draft them or you see them first before you shuffle it. And so it's not as tactical because you kind of have to go in knowing what plan you want to execute. Whereas Race for the Galaxy, you get like 2 starting random worlds and you've got to choose one. And then you have like a hand of, I think it's like 6 cards and you have to discard 2 or something. So you'll have 4 cards to start with and you'll have 1 starting planet. And so already from that, you kind of want to have some idea of what you want to do. Like if you want to do, I might do kind of military stuff and I've got a military starting world, that's good, blah, blah. You know, you can kind of get started with something, but then there's a lot more like luck and tactics involved because you don't actually know what cards you're going to get. And the deck is massive. And if you're playing with all the expansions, it's just like you can't know what you're going to see in the game. So, but I really like that. I really like the whole, you know, just trying to make the best of what you've got.
Yeah. So like rather than going in and being like, oh, I didn't get what I want, so this game's crap. It's the other way around. You're like, this is cool because I've got to think on the fly. Yes. Or I need to have multiple strategies. You're still rewarded for having knowledge of cards though, right?
Yes. You still want to know what kinds of things you can do. Yeah. You still want to know what kinds of things you can do. Like, oh, I can go for production worlds and get goods and like sell goods for lots of points. Or I can like just take over, you know, I can do military. And generally speaking, if you're doing military, you want to kind of do that fast because you can settle things without spending cards. So you can settle a lot of planets and just go, yeah, I'm taking over. So that can be like a fast strategy, but not as points heavy if other people are doing that. So there's so many different ones though. Like there's insane strategies. There's like paying for military in a different way. So you can settle military planets even if you don't have military and vice versa. And what else is there? There's just weird combos. And there's these cards that you get that are like, they cost a lot to put down, but they're in-game scoring cards and they have crazy stuff like, let's say I was deciding to settle a lot of production planets and make a lot of goods and sell those. You might get a 6-point development that has, hey, get 2 points for every production planet you have. And you're just like, yes, this is going to give me 20 extra points. So there's stuff like that. And you don't always get like the combo that you want. So yeah, there's a bit of luck involved. But like you say, it is like think on the fly. And it's really cool because you might be like, oh, I'm not getting anything I want. This isn't like what I was going for initially. And then you can just see a whole new like kind of avenue open up and be like, yeah, I'm going to go down this path and see what happens. And I like that. I reckon it's cool. Like cool. If you go into the game knowing that it's like that. So it gives a really different feel to Res. Yeah.
It's developed made by the same guy that makes Res.
It's the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same guy but it feels
What's
totally
their name?
different.
Oh my gosh.
Tom Lehman.
Tom Lehman, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same guy as Dice Realms as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that game as well. What can I say?
Lehman fan.
Tom Lehman fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. 80, we played a pretty cool trick-taking game together, and that is the pirate-themed Skull King.
And I've had that on my shelf for a while at home.
Yeah.
It just sat there, and I've never picked it up just for whatever reason. I think I got it just before COVID was a thing, and now it's just not been played. But yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. It's actually pretty simple.
Yeah.
Like,
except when you get confused between trump card and pirate card, because the trump card has the pirate symbol on it, and then Mitch gets angry at you because you're like, but how come that one? It's the pirate. He's like, it's not a pirate card, it's a trump card. It's like, hang on a sec, dude. Like, cut me some slack.
I think it was like
3 trumps
super
in that
late
game.
as well. I'm thinking we played that super late from memory. I can't remember.
Yeah, well, I can't remember. There was a lot of laughter and poo flinging, not literal poo flinging, but like, you know, we were making fun of each other a lot.
Jules was in hysterics. We lost Jules at one point. He just completely lost Jules. But he's like,
because of Mitch's grasp of the English language, or non-English language, I should say. Yeah,
like what do you say? Ro ho ho, isn't that what you say?
Yeah. Ro ho.
Like, I thought that was kind of cool as well. Yo ho ho. Yeah, I thought that was kind of nice. Like, that's something a little bit different.
I really like
silly fun
trick-taking games where you have to make a call on how many you're going to win. I think that adds such a great... I mean, that's classic, like Euchre, Euchre 500, where you're going, yep, I think this is how many. And then you've got that thing of, right, we need to make sure that he doesn't win this one, or they win another one, or whatever. Just adds a great feeling to it. And because there's multiple trumps, like Sarah said, that different cards trump other ones, it does have a wrinkle, but it's not that complicated. It's not really like, oh my God, what does what? It's like the Skull King is virtually like the best card, but you don't always want to play it because it lets you net bonus points and all that stuff. So yeah, that was heaps of fun. I really enjoyed it. I can see why people say it's their favorite trick-taking game.
Yeah. And it's also a lot easier to get than Niet.
Yeah, but they're different games,
like, it's not,
I think.
Yeah, I agree.
You're on teams, like, you say what the trump is going to be or what the negative trump is going to be, and so on and so forth. So yeah, and it was good. And I know last week you briefly mentioned Stick'em. Yeah, I don't think I did.
I was in that game.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's a fan. I mean, we'll leave Mitch to.
I think so. I think that's fair enough
because he's loving the trick-taking games, and he hasn't been on the pod since. For ages.
Yeah.
And we've played all these trick-taking games at his house. And we're like binging all our experiences.
Stealing his thunder.
Yeah, but there was one moment that just made me die with laughter. And that was when we were playing. And that Stick'em game, essentially, you put the card in front of you that you are trying not to collect. Because it's negative points, right? And I know you explained that.
What's it called? The death card or something like that? The hurt card? Yeah.
But if you put... Let's say you put the 3 of that card in front of you, the 3 red, you are already -3 by the end. And like, we all put our cards in front of us, not fully understanding the concept. We just thought it was you would lose, that card would be discarded, and that was the color that was the problem.
Yeah.
Me, Harry, Mitch, Connor, all put in like different colors, but all 13s and 14s. So we would already have to win 3 tricks to net gain to 0, basically. And Jules put like a 3 in front of him because he has a brain. And we don't have a brain. And then once we explained what happened, Harry then realized he swapped his to like a 2. We still had 13s or 14s because we're stupid. And he's like, what are you doing? Yeah. Why would you put that in front of you? You have to be stupid. You're idiots. What are you doing? And it was just hilarious. And that was very late. I don't even remember what time that was, but that was incredibly late at night because I remember having that glazed eyes, like the kind of glazed eyes from being exhausted, but also from laughing so much. It was just insane.
Because there was a couple of things like Mitch trying to pronounce the name of the final girl scenario. That was hilarious. I'm not even going to bother trying to explain it. Maybe he can put pressure on him. If you're listening, get him to do it on the next time he's on the podcast. But yeah, that was great fun. That was just some
Stick'em is brutal.
Yeah,
there is you're trying to stick the other players constantly. It doesn't matter if you get any points as long as they're getting less points. So it is a nasty. I've never played a game that's that upfront nasty and that stitch up for a long time.
Yeah.
But it is incredible fun. Like it is, as long as you're in for it and you understand that we are going to all mess with each other. This is not going to be very pretty, but everybody's getting that experience. It's not like one player's getting screwed over. Because once you realize, oh, hang on, he's got a fair few tricks, we can't let him win anything else, you could all start screwing over that one player to sort of even the playing field. But yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed that. It was something that I wouldn't have thought I'd liked, but I really liked.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because you used to be such a Care Bear, Adrian. You're not anymore. You changed, man.
like, I haven't got a choice. Like, I want to screw Connor over by legal right. Jules is there, so he's going to screw everybody over anyway.
Right.
So we might as well just go for it.
That weekend, everyone was like, why do you keep saying nothing's your fault, Connor? You keep blaming everyone else. I was like, because it is everyone else's fault. Like, I'm playing my own game, and Adrian's sitting. So you go, obviously, most of the time in most games, you go clockwise. Adrian sits to my right. So he always takes the thing away. Harry's sitting to my left. So then he's blaming me for taking all of his moves or cards. I'm like, I can't win. Like, I actually can't win. No, it was fun. It was a great weekend. I could talk about the weekend for 4 podcasts in a row. I played a game when I got back from Sydney with my family, The Adventures of Robin Hood. So this was like pretty hot and dandy. I want to say like 2 years back, maybe? Is that when it won? Did it win something like the Guinness Spiel? But the
was it 2 years? Or was it last year?
I think it might have been last year. I believe it was last year.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Unless time's going just really too quickly.
Which is totally possible.
It is.
Yeah. But if you're not familiar with Adventures of Robin Hood, it's a narrative game. So I can't really go in and explain any of like the story behind it. But it's Robin Hood, right? It's set in Sherwood Forest and stuff like that. But Adrian put his hand up, so I'm saying set near you. Is that where you're from?
No. I'm not going to say that I like visited the grave of Robin Hood to up your story or anything. No, 2021.
2021. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So
did you cook him a meal?
Yeah.
No, didn't.
Did you cook Carrie Ells from Robin Hood Men in Tights a meal? Is that what you did?
You bagged out Prince of Thieves, and I'm not having that. That's a good film. I'm going to tell you right now.
It's garbage. But it has this really cool advent calendar mechanic where you go through the storybook and it tells you to flip over certain tiles. So some of these tiles will be hidden for the game, but will represent certain characters or something that you can interact with. There's also this really nice bag mechanic. So when you fight, instead of having like a base value, you have to draw 3 cubes out of a bag. And as long as you draw 1 white cube, you win the fight. So there's purple and white cubes in there. So you draw 1 white cube out, you win the fight. And you then remove those cubes from the bag, so don't put them back in. So purple's like for the King John, for the royalty, who you're obviously fighting against, and so on and so forth. But it's really good. If you're looking for a game that has a really strong narrative, a strong link to the narrative, I really think you should give Adventures of Robin Hood a look in. There's an expansion coming out too, which
I am actually looking for something like that.
Yeah, I think Finn would rate it.
Yeah, I reckon.
Absolutely rate it because
there's some great games out there, right, that are co-op. There's The Pandemic, there's Horrified, there's, zombie kids, zombie teens. He's a bit old for those now, but there's not anything that has that narrative. And that's what I want. I want like a narrative game that we can go back to. So you reckon this would be okay for his age?
Yeah, easily. Because what happens is you nominate, it doesn't be the same person all the time, but you nominate someone to read from the book. And the book's cool. It's like this faux leather bound with the ribbons. And they pretty much read like what action you're going to do. And the board, it doesn't seem like it when you open it up. The board has these sections where there's shadow and light. And if you're in the shadow, you can't get caught by the guards. But if you're in the light, you can. And it's like really easily identifiable where you can go. So yeah, really straightforward. It's got one of those that lots of great games have where it's like, start here, don't read the rule book. We're going to introduce it to you. So yeah, you're all good to go.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, might give it a go.
Really cool. But with that, we might get into our sizzles for the episode.
Hey everyone, it's Sarah here. I want to talk a little bit about one of our sponsors who has sponsored the podcast from the very beginning, and that is Advent Games. Adventgames.com.au is an Australian board game store. This is the store where I get all of my games from, so you know that I'm not just advertising it just because. This is very personal to me. And Dean, who runs it, is very knowledgeable about games. He is a huge board gamer himself, and he often gives advice and things like that, and just awesome all-round customer service. So all around New South Wales, you can get flat rate shipping from adventgames.com.au for $10. If you're somewhere else in Australia, you can get flat rate shipping for $15, not that much more. And if you are super local, you can even see Dean at Chatswood on Tuesday nights to pick up games from him, from his very paws. So that is adventgames.com.au. Thank you so much for sponsoring the podcast.
Sarah, I'm interested to hear about your sizzle first.
Okay.
What's your sizzle, Sazzle?
So my sizzle is past party food, which was kindly sent to us by Phil Walker Harding because, he's got his new Joey Games publishing thing, and his wife, it's a husband and wife team, so his wife does like the art for it as well. And so it looks super cute. It actually says 7+ on the box, but I think that it's probably better for younger kids. Like Ren's only 4 and she absolutely loves it. Loves it. I think since I taught it to her, we've played it like 8 times a day.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for her.
For Ren. But it gives her that, when you play those games that many times, it gives her a bit of a more insight to a strategy and a, idea of what she wants to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't have to teach her again and again. She can
That's
automatically
true.
just go hard on it.
I just have to keep her on track. Like, okay, you're drawing one. Like sometimes she'll draw, because it's a tile drawing thing where it's really cool. You basically draw 3 tiles and you choose, one to throw away, because there's 2 of us playing. There's 1 to throw away, 1 for her to keep for her board, and 1 to give to me.
Yep.
And it's like the set collecting thing where you want to get rows or columns to score points on your board, and it's a co-op game. And this is her first co-op game. So it's a co-op game where you're trying to get up to the cake. Like there's a little board where you're trying to get to the cake. Like you just want to get the cake done. Then it shows the party's done, the party's over and it didn't get ruined. There's this dog though that's following you up the track, and the dog takes party food as well and also scores more. Like it scores more points than we do for its rows and columns. So basically she keeps on drawing tiles for her, and then I'm like, wait, you've got to do the doggy first. You have to do Ziggy's. Ziggy's one. Yeah, Ziggy the dog. So you got to do Ziggy's one first. So I have to just keep her on track. And if I keep her on track, then she's fine. So, and in terms of strategy, she is getting there now, like you say, Adrian, because she's played it quite a lot. She's starting to, at the start it was, I just want to collect the pink one.
Yeah.
Just because that's the one she liked the look of. But now, she likes the fact that she's choosing for me as well, because she's, only 4 and no, she never gets to choose anything for anybody. It's always everyone choosing things for her, So it's like a flip on that, and she loves that. She's like, "Mummy, you're getting this one," and I'm like, "Oh, but can I have the other one?" And she's like, "No, you're getting this one," and it's really cute. And so if you're playing with more than 2, you actually play on the other side of the board where the 3 tiles that you choose, you're choosing 1 for the person on your left, 1 for the person on your right, and 1 for for yourself. But in the 2-player, you discard 1.
Yeah.
And you also get these little tiles that you flip over where there's a take tile where you can take something from Ziggy's mat. So if you use that at the right time, you might stop the dog from scoring something and catching up to you on the scoreboard. There's swaps. So there's a swap token where you just swap one of your things on your platter for someone else's. It's very, very simple, but it's just perfect for her. It's just the right amount of strategy where she can just start to sort of think about what she wants to collect.
Would Ren's older brother, Zolly, would he get any enjoyment out of playing it with you guys as a 3? Because I know obviously he's too advanced for the game itself.
Yeah. He's a bit old.
Would that be kind of fun, passing the pieces between each other and trying to sort that out, or would it just turn into, I don't want that one, I'm not taking that one, why should you give me that one, I'm not playing this anymore?
That's always going to happen.
Does. Right? That's Connor's attitude.
Yeah, that would kind of be like that. Harry would be like that too.
Why is he on my left?
They're never happy.
What's going on?
They're never happy.
Hey, you should be impressed I know my right and left. Let's face it.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it'd go because they do get on each other's nerves a little bit, those 2.
Yeah.
And Zolly's 12, so he's a little bit old for it. But I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to see how they go. I think he would do it just to family make her
stuff.
happy. And,
exactly.
Just family
That's what
stuff.
I mean. If he got enjoyment out of doing that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think he would do it. I don't think he would want to play it more than 1 time in a sitting.
No.
Yeah.
I'm there playing it 4 times and then 4 times later. But I don't think Zoltan would do that. You'd be like, all right, Mum, it's just you now.
Peace out.
Good luck with that. I'm going to play Fortnite.
One game of this has gained me an hour and a half of Fortnite time.
Right.
Screen time.
See you in the spring.
See, yeah, that's right. But I will say it was really interesting to start trying to explain a co-op game to her because she wasn't really prepared for that. Like she wanted to win and she was like, I want to get to the cake first and then I will win. And I'm like, no, we've got to win together. So you know, if you leave mummy behind, then we both will lose kind of thing. And it took her ages to figure that out. She was like, yeah, but nah. And then she figured it out, but then she was like, yeah, but I want to get to the cake first. But I still want you to get there, but I want to get there first. So that was pretty funny. But now that she sort of gets it, it's really interesting because she doesn't get that upset when she loses. Like when we both lose, because it's like, oh, we're losing together.
Yeah.
It's fine. And the thing that was really cool was she turns to me and she's like, we're going to play until we beat it.
Whoa.
And I'm like, oh, wow. But we didn't because we lost 4 times in a row. And I was like, I can't, Ren. I can't do it.
I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta do something else. Because she's cute, but like I said, I have to keep her on track. And so it gets tiring being like, no, you've got to draw one for Ziggy first. And like after you've said that like 250 times, it's like, okay.
You should just record it and press a button on your phone. Just like, you got to give one to Ziggy. I think it's great though, because it shows that the game is fantastic for that age group. The fact that she wants to keep going and isn't 100%. Like, I'm done, you know, give me my iPad. Like, you know, it's cool that she actually wants to keep going and like she has the focus to want to beat it, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Like this is the game I think, like if someone is wanting to, because I got asked this around Christmas time, a few people asked me what games are good to get their like
for the younger kids.
Person who has a baby kind of thing or a young child. And obviously I didn't know about this one then, but I think this would be the one I'd recommend.
Yeah.
You know, and because it is actually, you know, on my turn, it's not that bad. Like I like drafting games, right? And that's all you're doing is you're drafting and that's kind of fun. It's like, oh yeah, I'll collect this. I'll try for that. It's a bit of push your luck too because the things that get, I don't know if you say push your luck, but the things that get like more points are the things that are more rare in the bag, right? Because you're pulling things out of the bag. And so I think the Lamington, of course, Connor, Lamington, it's the most rare and the treasured
as it should be.
Dessert, as it should be. It's the king of the party foods. So that one gets you more points and there's a lot less in the thing. But of course, I'm like, I'm going to try and get the Lamingtons all the time. Just Lamingtons, nothing but Lamingtons. So yeah, it's not bad for parents as well. Like it's not it's not that thinky, but it's good. I would definitely recommend it as an experience like for families to do and to teach really young kids how to play because they can play.
Yeah.
And the things are so cute and they just want the things. They want to collect the fairy bread.
Well, who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Like, yeah. But so my question is, are Chico rolls one of the party foods?
No, it's all sweet stuff. It's only sweet stuff at this party.
Party pies?
It's like a what do you call it? High tea or something.
Yeah. Do you know they call party pies nibble pies here in Warrnambool?
What?
Yes, you told me that. You did tell me that, and I was
it's
like,
ridiculous. It's like,
but it's accurate because they're so small.
Yeah, but everyone
you don't nibble on it. You just chuck it in your mouth.
Or
so one bite. It should be one bite pie.
Yeah. Or lift the top, let it cool off a bit, then down the hatch.
Oh,
anyway.
This is the worst when you burn yourself. Oh, the other thing about these games is they're like sustainable.
Yes,
so there was
that's pretty
basically no plastic. There was one plastic bag for the player tokens and that's it.
And they have it like the packaging, it's like a sticker, that seal, is that right?
Yeah.
Like to close it up as opposed to a big bit of shrink wrap around the outside.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Don't try and peel it off. Just get a little knife.
Yeah, for sure. I agree because there was another. Villainous has the same thing, and like we're taking it off for my niece, and it started to like. I was like, no, just stop, just leave it. Don't. I'll cut it. And they're like, oh, but then there's going to be half a sticker. I was like, do you want half a sticker on there, or do you want half like the box left? Because that's what's going to happen. Like, it's going to get ripped off. Yeah, very good. So that was. Pass the party food,
which was nothing to do with like pass the parcel. Okay, it's nothing like that.
That's the word. This hot parcel. Well, you said they're sweet, so it's not hot. So,
sweet.
80. This game, you promised to play with me, and you didn't. You don't.
Yeah,
that's rude.
We were too busy.
Betting on horses,
skulking and betting on horses, and just too busy. And it's a bit of a beast. Like, you're not going to be teaching it at the game day when you've only played it a few times. As Darwin's Journey, it's actually the biggest game that MJ had backed on Kickstarter at the time. I didn't back it myself, so I was very lucky that she backed it because it's fantastic. And it's a game that I knew I liked at the time when I saw the campaign, but I was just like, I've got so many coming. I just can't keep up. So MJ backed it. And now things kind of got slowed down and delayed because of the whole COVID thing. And now that it arrived, well, we have got time to play it because they aren't just sort of flooding through the door. Essentially, it's a worker placement game which sort of recalls the memories of Charles Darwin and his sort of adventures through the Galapagos Islands and all these different things. And it's got some really unique mechanics in it that I hadn't really played around with that much before. It also has that thing that Simone Luciani does where it's so much random to the setup and so much random to the scoring conditions. Round by round, end of round scoring conditions are all different. It has that thing that Barrage has as well, where if you're not up certain tracks and you're behind, you don't gain the full victory points of the potential for the end of round scoring.
Yeah,
so in Barrage,
if you're not,
Barrage. You've got to have a certain limit. Is that right? Otherwise,
yes.
it's tough.
You can go past it and then you won't get any minuses. That's not a problem, but it's more the fact that if you don't get there, your 16 points can become 8 points and you're like, oh God, like I really have to push up that track, but I can't. And it's a funny thing because essentially it is a bunch of worker placement spots with these other tracks, and the tracks are represented by different islands in the Galapagos, and also the HMS Beagle, which is the boat, and you're trying to keep up with that Beagle. So when that Beagle moves at the end of every round, and that's the scoring condition, it's not a dog. I know you're laughing away.
Trying to keep up with that Beagle. I'm imagining like trying to keep up with my family's Beagle, Basil. It's like, that's not that hard. It's pretty achievable.
But it's, same for ours. Vinny is old, so we can easily keep up with him, bless him. But it's an interesting thing that as you go along and follow the Beagle, and let's say the boat, because Connor can't stop laughing. Every time I send a Beagle, he pulls a face. So as you try and follow Darwin's boat, it unlocks new islands, which unlocks new tracks. So essentially the islands are a pathway that you can go along, but they branch off almost like a walkway, but you can go left and you can go right. So some of these islands have different benefits and abilities on them, and they have all the samples that you're trying to collect. You're trying to collect the samples, put them onto your player board, and then take them back to the museum. Now, I'm not going to be able to explain fully how it all works because there is so much I could go on for days. But essentially, you start the game with these crew cards, and they give you these sort of wax seals that enable you to access certain worker placement spots in the game.
Those seals are so cool, man. I was like, oh my gosh, like the little piece.
When I first played with them, I hated them because they all stuck together. They wouldn't come out the bag properly. I think maybe because I was playing it in Queensland, the humidity that Connor hates.
The humidity.
Oh my God. Connor just wouldn't stop going on.
That was the joke in Sydney. Connor was like, so humid. It's so humid. Put the window up. Put the aircon. It's so humid. And I was like, nah, put the window down. It's not humid. It's too hot.
He was melting. Yeah. He was melting like a wax seal.
Yeah, he was. Exactly right. But the wax seals are like this rubbery piece of material. And I didn't like them at first, but they've grown on me and I kind of like them now. So be it. There's a lot of people that don't like them, a lot of people that do like them. There's an anti-wax sealer and then a wax sealer.
Anti-wax.
Anti-wax sealer. But it's a great game. It's really interesting. And some of the funny things about it is you have these sort of magnifying glasses that are part of your personal supply. And throughout the game, you can place them out to unlock different worker placement spots. Now, once you place your colored magnifying glass on that area, that allows other players and yourself to use those locations. But every time they use those locations, you get $1. You get paid out for it a little bit. So it's a push and pull of like, do I want to unlock this really cool area for me so I can use it? Because I can see that at the moment, they don't have enough wax seals to access that area in that color type of blue, green, yellow, and red. Do I want to lay it out for them as like a layup so they use it so I kind of get an income benefit from people using that spot? So I really like that part of it. The sort of, and especially the fact that none of the spots are available at the start, just the 4 basic ones, and you unlock these other ones as you play the game. You can also, some of the worker placement spots are things like sending correspondence back to, I assume London, just sending letters. And that's like an area majority because there's 3 different letters that you can send, and they're all randomized as to what they do at the end of the round. So when you count those up and see who has the majority, they half their stamps from those letters because you put stamps on the letters. And then the next round, someone else might have more stamps than you did in the previous round. So it's up to you if you want to keep putting stamps on those letters to send them back. And they all have different abilities that are completely randomized when you play the game. There's also like a contract type thing. I actually don't remember their names, if I'm perfectly honest. They're just objective tiles. Yeah, right. That's what they call them. They're essentially a contract for the game. You take those into your personal supply. Then when you complete them, you put them on your player board, and they unlock more abilities and different asymmetrical powers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you say asymmetric
powers? Well, the way that,
scoring, like scoring just for you.
There's scoring. Yeah. There's different powers. There's also the wax seals. They as you place them out on your player board, there's 3 different explorers or helpers that you have. They're essentially a worker placement, you place on the actual main board to go into those worker placement spots. They only start with the core colors of the cards that you draft at the start of the game. And you start with 3 cards, which at the very first game, you get set a certain card to make it easier so you don't screw yourself over like I have multiple times trying to draft my own. But you can draft your own, and that's really interesting. I always love this element of drafting and sort of choosing your path before the game starts. And you start with 4 cards each, you draft 3, you discard the final 1, and throughout the game, if you get the seals that are on those cards for 1 worker, it allows you to do a one-off special action, which can really combo well into doing other combos later in the game. So you can sort of really set yourself up so that as that wax seal goes down, the boat moves into a certain location on an island, and then you get to move a worker on the island, and you get all these different sort of cascading bonuses and benefits that kind of follow that. Yeah,
I love those epic turn things.
Yeah, there's a few of those that I've had, and MJ's like, "You done now?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, actually, no, I get $2 more because of that. And she's like, yeah, of course you would. Of course you would.
That would make her so mad as well. She's like, oh, just let me have my turn.
I think I've got 100% win rate out of like the 5 games.
Well, you can't play it anymore then. That's it.
Yeah, I'm done. That's it. But
don't get used to it.
Yeah, that's right.
You better send it to me then.
It's got some really interesting mechanics, like I said. It's really interesting, but it does have this one thing on there which I personally don't have a gripe with. But I know a lot of people don't like it in their sort of heavier Euro games, is that if you don't go up the theory track, like there's a track on there that if you do not go up there and stay competitive on that track, you will not be competitive by the end of the game. Because it's like a massive multiplier part. So it's called the evolutionary track or the theory of evolution track. And it's the biggest part of where your points come from. But it only comes from there if you're successful in other parts of the game as well. And that's like a major multiplier of it. And I mean, I haven't lost a game yet, and I've always been ahead on that track. And it always, like, when you add up the points and stuff, it's like, yeah, I got a lot of points from doing this. I got 90 to your 70, which is 20 points in a game where we're scoring like 160. That's enough to keep me.
I kind of feel like if you have to go up on a track like that, and this is literally just listening to what you've said, and I know you've admitted yourself you haven't played it probably enough to make a definitive call, but it's like, why include that in the first place? Because then if you have to go up to multiply it, just get rid of it and it's the same result. Yeah, like if you're just multiplying your points.
I'm not a mathematician.
Yeah, no,
I couldn't understand it, but I think that like the excitement of going up there for the player is really good.
Fair enough then. Yep.
And when you could, and like I think that Lost Ruins of Arnak has it. Yep. Origins, the first builder, has it, where like you have to be competitive on the Zodiac track. Go for it, Sarah.
No, I didn't want to interrupt you. I was just going to say that, like, I guess during your turn, you have like a little bit of extra like tension because you know that you want to do all these things, but you've got to do that thing over there as well. You've got to go off the track.
Yeah.
So like I can see from a design point of view why you'd put something like that in, maybe because it's like, oh, well, now the players have more to think about. They just have more to think about.
I definitely have foregone a lot of little snidey, sneaky, like $4 bonus and a little bonus of this just to put my explorer on a track thing that gives me 3 books on the track. So I go up 3 on that. And if you keep going on that, and then, there's other powers that unlock where you can then also activate one of your tents that you've placed out on the Galapagos Islands again. And if that has 3 books on it, then I go up again 3 books. And, I'm very wary of playing and going up on that track. The first game, we both didn't really know what was going to happen because it was like a first game. We hadn't really watched any videos and we played it from the rulebook. And I still got the win, but we were both very close. But in the other games, it was a bit of a bigger point difference when we weren't close on that track.
You know what you need to do, 80, if you want to check it out. Like, just don't go so hard in that track and see if you can still win.
Yeah, but then he might lose. Like
I'll lose.
Whereas he knows if he had to win, he has to go up that track. Whereas,
I feel
but it's a challenge. If you keep beating MJ,
but
then it's fine. Just do something else.
If I don't go up that track at all, there's no point playing it.
You're like, I don't want to lose.
There's a chance. There's a chance he will lose. Whereas he knows if he goes up the track, there's no chance he loses. So he's going to go up the track. Like
in my previous game, I got 90 points for it, and my total score was 158 or something.
Yeah, so it's more than 50.
So it was like I have to go up here.
Yeah, fair enough. But you could just not go as hard into that. I don't know. For me, correct. I'm like, I'd be way too curious. I'd be like, no, I need to figure out if I can win in a different.
Yeah, I will do it. I'm definitely going to do it because I actually want to play this more games, and this is going to be part of my oath because it's a really great game, and it's a game that, unfortunately for you two, I think you'd both really like. I think you'd really like it a lot.
Fortunately for me, because Kerry's getting it, and I don't even have to buy it. Yay!
Was Kerry playing it at the game day?
She did. Yes. She played at the game day, and she's like, "This is so good, Sarah. This is so good." And I'm like, "Are you getting it?" And she's like, "Yep." And I'm like, "Sweet."
Because I think I walked past her playing it. She goes, "Have you played it?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "You'd like it." And I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks." Yeah. Even though I knew.
Our impression of Kerry is so funny right now.
I knew. Sorry, I was just saying because you said to me how much I'd like it.
Yeah,
and then so I mean, it's got tracks.
Because it's not super heavy, but it's got really cool tracks on it they're almost like a branch of a tree because they're not just one linear track. When you go off the path and deviate left to go around and pick something else up, then come back on the right on the island, you can be doing different paths different times. And you might be like, I don't care about that specimen. I'm not going to bother picking that up. It doesn't help me now. I need the 4 money so I can activate something else on my next turn. And I mean, to be honest, it's a really interesting game. Those wax seals are really cool because they make your workers have all these different asymmetrical sort of, not abilities, but the ability to go spots that other players can't, right? So there's wax seals sort of, they like buff your workers up. And even to the point of, you can buff the workers up so much that the actions that you take have like a superior version of the action on there that only you can take if you've gone up enough on those abilities.
Like
it's really cool. The turn order change and stuff's really important, like it is in most heavy Euros. It's a fantastic game that I'm really happy that we have. And I didn't back it, so it's a win.
So it's the same with me. Like,
double
getting
win.
people to buy games that we want to play. That's great.
Oh, geez, you guys are lucky. No, that's I'm very keen to play this. So whether when I'm up in Brisbane or Sydney next, I'll have to book in a play with you or with Kerry, and I guess Sarah can be there.
Kerry's a legend, and she came to everything that we did like that weekend as well. It's so hard as well. Like I didn't actually go to Kerry's. Sorry, Kerry, I feel sad, but like I actually spent my day at Mitch's house on Sunday
on the
with
couch.
a bit of a hangover. Like, because we were out until like 1 o'clock or whatever,
and you had all
the
them
cocktail
cocktails.
bar was phenomenal.
Right.
But I stayed in my PJs the whole day, right? Until Mitch goes, "Yeah, my mum's coming around in about 20 minutes." I was like, "Your mum? I'm in my PJs, man. Like, I've got to go get dressed." So I had to run upstairs and have a shower and get dressed rather than be a scrub.
And put on his dress PJs.
Yeah.
My
fancy
he's got
PJs.
changed into different PJs. It kind of gave me a taste for what like the con's going to be like next year. Having 3 days in a row of doing stuff.
We need to work out how to pace ourselves better, I think, because like by Saturday morning, we kind of all got there, and it was great, and I loved being there. But I kind of looked at each of us and we kind of had that look of like distant look in our eyes of like
bit rough.
We're seeing the end now. Yeah, so probably
I didn't. I was fine, but then I wasn't playing trick-taking games till 2 a.m. or whatever the hell you guys were doing.
Yes,
crazy.
No, but that's 2 out of 3 sizzles. So I'll roll on to mine. And friend of the show and patron Harry introduced me to a great game over BGA, and that's Crusaders Thy Will Be Done. Have either of you two played this or heard of this game?
I think I've seen the pitch on BGA. That's it. I know nothing.
Yeah, 80.
I know that Def has it. He told me to play it. I've seen it in lots of other places, but I just never picked it up.
Yeah. So what would you think, like without knowing anything about this game, what type of game do you think it would be?
Well, I already know what it's about.
Oh, well, you're no fun. Sarah.
Be cheating. Sorry, Sarah.
I'm going to go with Euro.
Yeah, it is. Okay. No, well, okay. I guess I'm the only one. Okay, when I think about games like Crusading or Knights or things like that, I think of dudes on a map. Yeah, like area control.
No, it's not too nerdy. It's got to be a Euro.
Yeah. It's definitely like it. So it is a Euro. So what you're doing is you're playing you're part of the Crusading army, you're Crusaders, across Eastern Europe and into Western Asia. And the crux of the game is this action wheel where you take an action. You can take generally any action you want. So the actions you can take are travel, build, muster, crusade, makes sense, and influence. Travel is travel. You move as many spaces as you've got action points, and I'll get to that in a sec. Build is building different buildings, which give you bonuses to your different actions. Crusade is like the battling, but it's not. You don't really battle. You just have to have a higher strength value than your target. Muster is adding to your crusade value, and then influence is you just getting victory points. And the cool thing about this game is that there's a set number of victory points that you don't play to necessarily, but there's a pool of victory points that you draw from. So virtually every action except for traveling, you are taking victory points. And whether that's just straight victory points through influence, building buildings, or crusading. So you have this action wheel and a set number of action tokens. And the action tokens, it's closed. So you're never going to have any more. You're never going to have any less. Now, there's some different groups of knights that will have different powers or whatever. So you're moving across this map, trying to accrue as many victory points as you can. But the pool of victory points has a limit. So depending on the number of people you're playing with, so 2-player, it's like 160 victory points, the pool of victory points. 3-player, which we've played at both times, me, Harry, and Def, it was 200. So you're really cautious of, all right, the number of victory points you're going to get early in the game is quite small. So it seems like you're going, slowly, little by little, taking, 3 or 4 victory points here or there. And then as your actions become more and more powerful, you then accrue more victory points per action. So when you build larger buildings, you're going to get more victory points. When you crusade against stronger enemies, so there's 3 types of enemies, the Saracens, the Slavs, and the Persians. And with the Slavs and the Persians, each time they are defeated by anyone, they go up in strength value. So you need more and more strength value to be able to crusade and defeat them. And once you do that, the space is open for you or someone else to build on. So it's pretty straightforward. At the beginning of the game, you only take 1 action per turn because each of your actions, each of your tiles of your wheel, only have 1 action on there. So there's like 2 travel ones, I think, and then all the rest have 1 tile each. But what you can do is on your turn, instead of taking one of the actions, is you can upgrade any tile that isn't upgraded yet. So that tile goes from having 1 action on it to 2 actions. So for example, you might have a tile that had travel. When you upgrade it, it goes travel and build, or it might have travel and crusade. Once you've upgraded, you can then distribute the action tokens that are on any tile that you want to any other tile. So once you take an action, that action value is based on how many cubes you have on your tile, right? So if you've got a Crusade tile that has 4 action tokens on it, it's got a value of 4. So you can Crusade against a target that has a value of 4. Once you take that action, it's got a Mancala mechanism. So where you pick up the tile, where you pick up the action tokens, and then you distribute them across in a clockwise manner, making all of your other actions more powerful. So it's got this really cool. Yeah. It's really, really cool. And when I played it the first time, I was like, I'm just going to take this action, that action, blah, blah, blah. Didn't really plan. That's not going to surprise anyone. But the second time, I was like, right, I need to make sure by the time I get to a certain point, this action is powerful enough for me to build a particular building, for me to crusade against a strong enough enemy, for me to muster. So when you muster, you get extra points to your crusade. So along with your action tokens on a tile, you also have bonuses based on what's the buildings that you've built. So it's really cool. It's super simple. Yeah, like I think you'd really like this one, Sarah, because of the Mancala mechanism.
That sounds so much like Trajan.
Yeah,
like Trajan has the Mancala rondel. Have you played that?
I haven't, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's as complicated
I do like that.
as Trajan. Like, and it's really, really easy. There's a little bit of, and when I was talking to Harry about it, it's really an efficiency puzzle. You're trying to get the most out of the limited number of victory points that are available, because once you've taken that last number of victory points, you finish the round and that's it. So you're really cautious of, well, I don't want to have too big of a turn, because that way, if we're playing together, if I have a turn that might net me 8 victory points and there's only 20 left, well, there's not much chance of it coming around back to me. But if I don't take that turn then, and you guys have 2 massive turns, I don't get to do that.
You might end it.
Yeah. So it's it's really cool. There was an expansion, and we're like, let's play the expansion, and then we realized, it's a little bit more complicated than just throwing it in and trying to win. But yeah, Crusaders, they will be done by Tasty Minstrel Games, which I don't think exist anymore, right? Did they go under? Weirdly, I
don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they did.
Think they. Oh, yeah, because didn't they have Orleans? Did they do Orleans?
Yeah, they did Orleans.
First time, Capstone.
Yeah, I think they are gone.
But yeah, I think it's on BGA. Super accessible. Really, really good. Does all the, yes, BGA does the maths for you. But I talked to Harry and he's like, nah, on the table it's no dramas. He did say one thing that you miss playing it online that you have when you're playing in person is he said you can look across to the table and you can see that, like, I can see Adrian and he's got all of these action tokens in Crusade and everyone knows he's going to Crusade. It's got to happen, and you start.
Undeniable.
The other cool thing is once you've upgraded your tile, you obviously have 2 abilities and you can split those action tokens between the 2 abilities. So it's like, okay, I've got to move and Crusade. I need to be able to move 3 spots. I need to be able to Crusade at 5. So I've got to have at least a move of 2 and a Crusade of at least 5. Take into account, obviously, the bonuses you get as well. Yeah, I just had heaps of fun playing this. I'm happy to play it again. I think we got it down to like under an hour to play it in. So it's a lot of cool stuff going on for not a lot of overhead and not a lot of time. But if you're looking for a great fun game on BGA or in person, have a look at Crusaders. They will be done.
Nice. That sounds cool.
Cool.
It sounds a bit weird, like with the cubes and stuff for the actions. Did it give you a bit of like Anunakai vibes in that thing, or was it completely different?
No, completely different. So because you have a closed number of cubes and they move around the Mancala, it's like you just drop them around. I can see what you're saying.
I get
each one has and what I got stuck into.
Change the power.
What I got stuck into a couple of times was, rather than trying to find an efficient way to move cubes around with different actions or whatever, while also rewarding myself, I would upgrade a tile and shift them around, because once you upgrade, you can pick up any cubes and move them around, not just the ones on the upgrade tile.
That's kind of like dudes on a map, efficiency puzzle, action selection. Like that kind of gives me that kind of a vibe. Yeah,
for sure. But cool. All right, well, that's our Sizzling Games for the episode. Just a couple of news and announcements. So first one is Melbourne Game Day, June 17th at Preston Town Hall, where we hosted the last one. Tickets are on sale now. Tickets are on sale now, so go ahead and get them. It's a great venue, heaps of good food nearby. So, yeah, really excited to see everyone had a blast at the last one and looking forward to the next one as well. We are also going to be doing a giveaway for reaching 4,000 Facebook members and 1,000 Discord members. Guys, could you imagine when we started this, we'd have 4,000 members on Facebook? I don't even know if I know 4,000 people like in my life and 1,000 Discord members. That's
we already had like 9 and they were all in your family.
That's true.
Who we started with. They were all divine.
I'm pretty sure Adrian just thought they were like me with long hair, me with a mustache, me but shrunk. So because Mitch decided to go rogue and decide we're just going to have a
That's
giveaway.
A weird thing for him to do.
Right?
Right? It's so weird.
It's so bizarre.
So unlike him.
We're going to be doing a giveaway, so stay tuned for that and those announcements coming up. But yeah, that's going to be exciting. So it's going to be a pretty big giveaway.
Do you have to join the community to be part of it?
Yeah, so I'll go through a little bit of the rundown here. If you're in the Facebook community already, you basically tag yourself or people on the post to be entered in. The other people that you tag gets you an additional entry. You also, if you are a Patreon member, you'll automatically get another 2 entries for a Patreon-only prize draw. We'll be giving away exclusive prizes in that part of the giveaway, just as a thank you for your massive support over the past 3 years. It has been almost 3 years already, which is insane.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, right?
So quick. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you would like to win the games, we actually got donated games sponsored, which is fantastic, from both VR Distribution and Let's Play Games, which are the biggest distributors in Australia, as far as I'm aware. They're the 2 biggest.
Mm-hmm.
VR has given us a pre-release first copy of Arceus Society, which is apparently a really sought after title in the content creator side of things. And there's only 5 coming to Oz, and one of them will be given away by VR through Board Game BBQ. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it looks great. I was looking at pictures of it and it looks fantastic. And there's a lot of people talking about it. Awesome. And also we have a copy of Village, which I believe, Sarah, you've got.
I haven't played it.
I'm
hoping I can play it on Tuesday because I'm having people over for games on Anzac Day. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Village big box.
And it's so beige. It's so you.
It's so me. I've been wanting to play this game for so long.
It's massive. The box is huge. Yeah. I know it's called Village Big Box.
Yeah, it's got all the expansions in it.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be pretty disappointed if it was small. If it's called Village Big Box.
Kind of ironically funny.
Is it really a big box?
Like calling a big guy tiny. Yeah.
But it could have been a small box game, and they did 10 expansions, and then it became a normal size box.
Small, epic, big Village box. Yeah.
But those are both donated from VR Distribution, and we also have from Let's Play Games copies of the new Carcassonne, which is kind of funny because we talked about it's a co-op game, and it looks really interesting. From what I saw, it looks almost just like Carcassonne as a co-op game, which is really strange in itself because it's quite a gateway competitive game, and it has this sort of meta, when this Race for the Galaxy, you play it a bunch, you get really good at it, and then the people that you play against are also just as good as you because you played it a bunch together in a group.
Yeah, because you can learn the tiles. Some people count the tiles and know exactly how many straight roads there are. And 100%.
It's a hardcore game.
I'm not. I'm laughing at the thought of me attempting that. Not that people do it. It's not.
I know me too.
I appreciate that. That's fantastic. I just don't have the mental bandwidth to pull that off.
Yeah.
That's cool from a giveaway side of things.
So there will be a post. There will be a post on our Facebook page. Just tag friends on that, and also follow along on that feed so you can see if you're going to be a winner. We will also be doing a live stream on Tuesday, the 9th of May at approximately 8 p.m. for the live giveaway to find out who those winners are and all that sort of stuff. And we'll go from there. Please join the Discord and the Facebook to sort of follow up on how to get involved.
So that's all from a giveaway point of view. But the other big news is the return of the Board Game BBQ Awards. Board Game BBQ Awards, very exciting. So the best games of 2022. So those categories are, we went through a couple last week with Sarah. So the categories are best solo game, best party game, best light game, best medium weight game, best heavy game, best artwork, best expansion, and of course, game of the year. So just a couple of things in terms of voting. So nominations are open to anyone in the community for 3 weeks. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. Nominate in all categories or just a few. You don't have to nominate in all categories. I know we've talked about this. Sometimes you mightn't have played a party game for a year or whatnot. Once nominations close on Sunday, May 7th, we will take the most nominated game in each category, most nominated games in each category, and they become the official nominees for the Board Game BBQ Awards. We then hand it over to our esteemed panel of judges, our Patreons, to vote. So if you would like to vote on the final winners, make sure to join our Patreon. And this will accumulate in the Board Game BBQ Awards night late in June, and we hope to have some surprises on the show as well. This is sort of being run's probably not the best word because he's doing way more than run it. Organised by Dan. He's doing an absolute mountain of work. So I thank you, Dan, for all your hard work. Last week, like I said, we talked about best solo game, best party game, and best artwork. Tonight, we're going to be quickly talking about best light game, best medium game, and best heavy game. So, Sarah, what are some light games from 2022 that you have enjoyed playing?
Dun, dun, dun. That was my shelfie.
None of them.
None of them. I don't like light games. No, I do like some light games. There was my shelfie, which I think is a good one. Like,
we all play tested that back in the day.
We did. We play tested. It was so much fun.
All three of us.
Play testing with Simone. Yeah. That whole time was really fun when we were doing that. Sea Salt and Paper, which I spoke about on the podcast, which I think is a really tight little card game, which is pretty cool. It's got like an interesting sort of bid and say, yeah, I'm going to win this. I'm going to get this many points, but you might not. And like it's kind of interesting in the way it scores. It's a bit different. It's on BGA. Caesar sees Rome in 20 minutes. Now, I haven't played that one, but I've played Blitzkrieg, and it's sort of similar. I loved Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg's fantastic, yeah.
So good. So I'm really keen to check that one out. Cat in a Box, the trick-taking game. I've played that once, my copy once. I want to play that more. So far, I really like it. It seems really cool. I think they're the ones I kind of know. There's a few that are on the list that I really wanted to check out. Like there's is it Dorf Romantic?
Yep.
That looks pretty cool. There's a micro macro on here as well. That Crime City All In. I really liked micro macro when I played it. So I really want to try that. And there's actually a 2-player Tokaido, which I think is interesting.
Yep.
I'd never even heard of that before. Another one I want to try is Applejack. And there's one game on there I don't like. Should I say the one I don't like?
Yeah, why not? We can always cut it out.
Lock and Key. But Connor likes it.
I like it. But I'm not going to take it to my grave, and I don't want to bury it with me. Like,
yeah.
When you were like, I have thoughts, I was like, I don't want to hear them.
I have thoughts. Yeah.
No, I just think it's a cool. Is that on the light games? Is it? Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's on the light.
Yeah, 80. Any additional ones you want to talk about? Sarah did a pretty good job covering the ones on the show.
I'll just go real fast. I don't really feel like it counts because Azul Master Chocolatier is basically like a reskin of Azul, but it's my intro to Azul.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So it makes me love Azul, which is good. Ready, Set, Bet will get my vote.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Sorry, am I allowed to say I'm going to vote for them? Yeah, I'm voting for them.
That's fine. I did that last time. I said who I was going to vote for.
I like it. I think it's unique. It's fun. It does what a light game wants to do. Like it makes a great party. For me, light games, I generally go for like a more of a party game type style. And I think it's great at doing that. So I see that there's Splendid Jewel on there that I haven't played that I'd like to try.
I've heard that's pretty good.
My Shelfie is also fantastic. Like it is a great thinky game, that adds a lot of interesting things. Other than that, I've got SBAM or Sabam, which is a Cranio like little box game. I haven't played it yet, but we have it, so I'd like to give that a try at some point. But yeah, There's plenty of good games on there.
So. Yeah. Speaking of good games, the next category, best medium game. So if you're not aware, the best light game is effectively a weighting of 2 and under on BGG. Best medium game is from 2.1 to 3.9.
That is a huge range.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense as to why there's so many great games in there. Holy moly. It's like every awesome game we've talked about is in this category.
So it's like the library of our past year. It's crazy.
Well, there's one on here. I mean, hey, if it wins, Super Fantasy Brawl 2022. I guess so, but I swear I played that before that year. In fact, I'm almost certain.
No, that was like the whole new season of it, wasn't it?
There's an expansion.
Jules talked about that. Yeah.
There's My Father's Work on here, which I have only played like the once, but I had a great experience playing. It was so unique, so different. It was a really interesting, story-driven worker placement game. It was a really good experience. Carnegie's on there, which I still really like, and it's a beautiful production. Like the production of the game is next level.
Yeah,
I didn't punch anything. It came all pre-punched and set up and organized.
Lovely.
And
stuff.
Some little up and comer did the art.
Some guy. Endless Winter was actually like I actually really enjoyed
the artwork.
Yeah, that's a great deck builder mixed with all those elements. Like the other ones, I didn't feel a deck building element as much. The Arnax and stuff. But yeah, I liked Endless Winter. I thought it was
Heat. I want to play Heat. Like that's getting quite a lot of interest. I haven't played Pilotum yet. I think you guys played that,
There's a lot of games on here.
Dead Reckoning. I love that game. So much fun. What else is on there? Wayfarers.
Great Western Trail, Argentina.
Yep.
I want to play that.
Yeah. Heaps of good stuff on there. So make sure. And then the big dogs, the heavy games. So that's from 4.0 to 5.0. I think both of you told me which one you would vote for separately, and it was the same game.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. I might have a change of heart.
Oh, you can't do that. That's not allowed.
The old Prince, the one that I printed and played for death, is in that list.
It's like a labour of love. It's like you're forced.
I'd be the only person to vote for it. But,
not necessarily. Well, I'm sure there's people out there that are listening that are the trained game people. I reckon Smoky Valley. You guys haven't played that.
No, I think you said I would like it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got,
really cool.
this is like what's Def played in the last year. We've got John Company, Weather Machine, Frostpunk, Perseverance, Castaway Chronicles, Tindaya. I don't think I know anyone that's played that in person, actually. 2 Minutes to Midnight. Yeah, Old Prince.
Where's Horse's Carriage? Surely that would be
we said it's 2023. It came out at the start of this year.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah,
because we looked at that last week. So,
yeah.
Otherwise...
Cool.
Is that what you said, Sarah, last week? That if it was your I'm putting words in your mouth. Never mind. Don't listen to me.
Oh man, it's got to be the best game of the year for me.
Wow! And
you mean so far in the 4 months that we've had?
Honestly don't think we're going to get a better game than Horseless Carriage this year.
That's it.
But I could be wrong.
Hey,
it's got faults though. It's got its problems.
Hey, game design.
What? Are we going to do this right now?
No, why not?
The return of the bracket. The return of the bracket.
Oh, the bracket.
Boom. No, I think the game's fantastic, but I can't buy it because I wouldn't buy a game that played at 3 players and plus.
Oh, okay. That's hard.
A huge downside for a lot of people because I play 90% of my games. I play with MJ.
Yeah. That's not a fault with the game.
No, I know, but it's a problem for me to go, well, I'm not going to buy it, so I'm not going to play it. So I'm probably not going to
80 did say, and I'm the first one to give 80 crap. He did say, I have a few issues with the game. He didn't say there are issues with the game. He said, I have a few.
Yeah.
Hey, that's very mature of you, 80.
Yeah. To be fair, the game is phenomenal, and it has that thing in pipeline that I love with that puzzle.
Oh,
where you're doing your own puzzle. But I'm not going to sizzle it now because I only played it just the other week, and Sarah sizzled it. So I'd like to try and find someone that's got it and play it a few times back to back, like a big day of just playing it 3 times or something crazy like that.
I need Mo to hurry up and move here, and then I can play it with him and Kerry. I hope Kerry likes it though. Maybe she'll think it's too mean. Oh no,
nah, it should be fine. It's not that mean.
We need robots already. We need AI.
No way. I already lose until enough people. I don't need to lose a robot.
I don't mind losing to a robot. I'd rather lose to a robot.
I'm on your left. And you'd be like, why is the robot on my left? The robot's always on my left. I hate the robot on my left.
Oh, that's funny.
Nice.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah,
cool.
Very good. So that is the Board Game BBQ Awards. Yep. Heavy games, best medium, best light, and best heavy. Of course, you might have some that we haven't talked about. So please get on and nominate once nominations are out. And of course, PlayCon. So make sure you have signed up to the emails. First update is coming soon at www.play-con.com. We are so excited about this. We are not going to talk about it now, Adrian, because you won't stop talking about it. No. But DM Adrian, and he can fill you in about all the stuff he's excited about.
Slide into Adrian's
slide
DMs.
into his DMs. Not creepy at all. Right, cool.
Well, I've got your face as my screensaver on my phone. Yeah. That's not creepy.
That's not creepy at all.
Was
he drooling? Was he asleep?
Took the worst photo I possibly could of Connor,
I'm pretty sure,
and then put it on my phone.
I'm pretty sure I was
my screensaver.
I was mid having a go at Jules about sitting to my right.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. I remember that now. Yeah. He changed it from the one where he was at your window.
Yeah. Holding the radio above my head.
Yeah. All right, on to everyone's new favorite segment, question of the pod. So last week, the question was, it's kind of weird because me and Sarah were both on this one and we kind of gave our opinion. So Adrian, I'm going to ask you, what game would you like to see a more accessible version of?
Well, Sarah already commented, I think, on mine. I think she said it on the show even maybe about my first barrage.
No, actually we were talking about it before the show.
Oh, was it? Yeah, the beavers. Because Simone said, we thought about doing it and doing like beaver dams and blocking off water using beavers and stuff. And I was like, I'm in. Like that sounds
We're talking about barrage. You didn't actually say barrage.
Yeah. No. So my first barrage would be my cool thing, but it would be obviously completely different, but something for a younger audience, which is always good, when they make a game for a younger audience and make it accessible so you can play it as a family. And then it has that sort of stepping stone mechanism so that you can learn slightly more complicated games. I'm not saying that Finn's going to go from being 7 playing my first barrage, then 8, let's play barrage. But, it's got a happy birthday, Finn. It's your 8th birthday. now we're playing barrage.
Like,
in that room.
We're playing with the big dogs now. Let's
yeah. Like a trial of like adulthood. It's like, that's it. Until you play barrage and win barrage, you are not an adult. Yeah.
There have been many games where we've played them and I've just taken rules out and scaled things back, like Tapestry and stuff, and played them with Finn. And he really enjoyed those games because they are a more accessible version. Like there's lots of companies that are doing these as well. You've got
cool.
My Little Everdell, My First Scythe, or is it My First Scythe?
My Little Scythe or something.
I can't remember which. It gets complicated because one's My First and My Little.
Yeah.
And even the Everdell one's My Lil, like Lil.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe the trademark for My Little is owned by somebody.
I might have some a little bit of exclusive news on this topic because I saw today that Ryan Courtney was like talking about bringing out a second edition of Curious Cargo that has, and then I was like, and he said something about it having the solo mode in it, and I wrote back, no, you're going to make me buy it again. Like, when a second edition comes out, it's got more stuff in, you're like, I've got to buy it. And then he was like, he responded to me like, no, this won't be for you. It'll be like a more accessible version.
Oh. So
he's gatekeeping me. He's like, no, this isn't for you. You can't buy it.
It's like reverse gatekeeping. Yeah, it's like you're too good for this. Yeah.
Which, I highly doubt because that game does my head in. I'm so
bad at it.
That game
does my head in.
I'm so bad at it.
Yeah, I can't play it. It's got the most amount of brain burn I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah, it's really hard because you're
multi-layers.
You've got to send goods and get them. So your pipes have to be good on both sides.
It's a phenomenal design.
Stuff.
I mean, oh my Lord, it's
so
a fantastic design.
It's so clever. Anywho,
right,
got off topic, but I thought that was relevant. It was relevant.
It was relevant, but we do have some other people's contributions to get through. So, Sarah, did you want to run through the Facebook contributions?
I do, but I closed the window. Oh no, I'm here. It's all good. So the Facebook contributions were, we had Gareth Meany? Warhammer Fantasy Battle, but without miniatures.
Yes. I mean, yes, but no, but I understand.
He said, I don't have the money, time, space, or energy to collect and paint hundreds of minis, but I still want to play rank and file tabletop warfare with my favorite fantasy IP. Yeah.
That's a great idea. Like they do some of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
They do little board games and that, but Whereas that specific one, Warhammer Fantasy Battle is something.
Yeah, they need one with like just standees or something, just so you can forego that whole minis thing. But it wouldn't be the same, would it?
It would not be the same.
That's tough. Jessica Ewing said, Sagrada, love to play this one and would love a colorblind friendly version to play with friends and family. Yeah, that's a really tricky one because the dice are like so cool looking with all the colors, but like how would you do that? You'd need pattern dice.
Yeah, well, I guess each
something?
different die could have a different symbol for the pip, but you're right.
Pips.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would be tricky.
Yeah, a star or a diamond. But then it'd have to be big enough for you to tell the difference. So when you go and grab them, like it's easy enough when you go, well, the blue die have stars on them when you've got full vision, like, you're not colorblind. You can see that, but if all you're going by is the pips, it's a bit hard. But yeah, no, I agree. That'd be a cool one.
It's a good one. I love that puzzle in that game. It's really tricky. A Kingdom Death Monster Light would be good. That was Jean that said that.
It was.
How would that work, Connor? How would that work?
So I actually talked to Jean about this in the Discord, and I was like, do you mean light as in like lighter theme, or do you mean light as in lighter mechanics? He goes, no, lighter mechanics. I still want it to be like as brutal. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. So not my first KDM.
Yeah. But I think I said this last week. It would actually be cool to have a game that has all those mechanics that you could potentially play with a wider range of people. But the brutality and all that stuff of the game is what makes it. So, I mean, we had a bunch of fun playing it with the Diceman during the week. So, yeah, I'll reserve my judgment.
And Rachel said, as a recent example, between two castles of Mad King Ludwig, I understand the need to limit the size of the tiles to prevent it from eating an entire 8-seater table, but something.
Damn, poor Fizzle.
I don't even know what that means. That has some small text icons and colors that, for me at least, become hard to distinguish in certain light. Yeah, that's fair. Lee Hath said, Mage Knight / Star Trek Frontiers. I'd love to have a version that took half the length of the time to finish. No way. You got to invest. It should be a whole day.
Mage Knight,
it should be a whole day for Mage Knight. No. So I'll never concede that point.
That's from Facey80. What are some of our Discord contributions?
Manny has said, not my answer as I have a full version, but I have a sneaky suspicion Foundations of Rome is going to be a big one here.
Cool.
Is that right?
Yep.
Do you think that?
I didn't even know that was that heavy, but maybe, because it's such a big, it's super popular. It's got a huge setup. It's very popular right now. So, maybe they will come out with.
Maybe they could just do it with cubes rather than all the fancy buildings and make it smaller and cheaper.
That's the whole point, is the buildings. Although I love cubes.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So I was trying to set you up there. Is it Loic? Is that you say that? Loic Sydney? L-O-I-C? Loic Sydney? Yeah, we're going with it. It's been mentioned on the podcast already, but Root would be great for kids. My kids love the artwork. My 8-year-old insisted on playing the Vagabond. Big up to the Vagabond. Yeah. And I just wish there was a more streamlined version of it for them.
Do you know what? I was thinking about this because that was what came up on the last one too. It would be so cool if they, rather than releasing a whole new, maybe it wouldn't work, but instead of releasing a whole new game, they just released another game you could play with all the stuff already, but a more streamlined version. I don't know, like a mini expansion, but I guess, game companies, they're companies that want to make games. I know that's not everything. They want to make money.
What about if they released 2 factions that were incredibly simple to manage for a younger audience that could play with the adults?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like what the Horizons of Spirit Island have. You can play with them with any of the other with any of the other spirits, but they're just a lot more streamlined. Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Shoitan said Jack Company, the accessible version of John Company. Instead of your family's hostile takeover of Indian via the EIC, your obnoxious family is on holiday in Goa, India, and trying to take over a resort and treat it like there was their own manor by bullying the pool staff, or the poor staff.
Or the pool staff as well, but yeah.
All the pool staff, yeah. So, no, all right. I'll get back into my thinking box. Sorry.
I actually thought that was really cool. I want to play that.
Yeah. I'd play that over John Company, actually. Sorry, Def.
Less Lucy said Motanai. I say it Motanai, but I'm probably saying it wrong.
Motanai.
Yeah, cool. Mutanai, Motanai.
We're wrong, let's face it.
You say Motanai, I say Mutanai.
The whole thing is we're meant to say it wrong, so.
Yeah,
it's our accent.
It's an amazing game that is very challenging to teach, and almost nobody likes it the first time they play it. You know what? I have played it only a couple of times, and it was a struggle to learn that game. It's like
the rulebook's not very well written.
No, it's definitely the heaviest card game I've attempted to play, and it's one that I really keep saying I need to revisit and play like a heap of times to kind of get that game under my belt. But
yeah, because you were interested in Glory to Rome, right? Because it's similar.
Like I get the appeal for Glory to Rome, but like the whole price tag thing and it being out of print and stuff is just like.
Well, that's why Motanai's good, because it's very similar.
An easy, cheap version.
Yeah.
A similar type of concept. But it says, Lucy goes on to say, it improves a lot on repeat play. Having a mini Motanai that you could play first and learn the skeleton of the rules before trying the real thing would be a great way to make this fantastic game accessible to more people. Now, I think, anything that has multi-card usage and stuff on a basic version would be great to learn multiple different games from the back of that, because these multi-card use games tend to have quite complicated rule sets, and they're not just sort of.
Well, there's a lot of thinking space to go into it, because you're not just it's effectively you're not just learning what the card does for one part of the game; it's for two. So it has that, the difficulty. But yeah, I mean, that
4.
Yeah, that's right. So
in Motanai, it's 4.
Is it 4?
Like they change. Yes, they go all the way up. They turn every shackle. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Cool. Yeah, so there's some great contributions. So, we've got to come up with another question from the pod. And we have talked about games that we think maybe we'll keep playing, or games that, that have a lasting value. We're talking about game of the year and things like that. But we want to know from you, what game do you think you'll still be playing in 10 years' time? Adrian, what game do you think you'll be playing in 10 years' time? You love to tell the future.
Yeah, that's it. I think I look at Quacks, right? And that's coming up to being like, I don't know, 7 years old or something. Like, it's 6 years old. It's not, I think it's like 2017 or something that came out. It feels like it was a while ago anyway, but I feel like that's a game that you could play with anybody and get that out at any time, especially with people that don't play board games as regularly or don't even have an interest in playing many board games. It's always a fun game to play and introduce to people. And also, I feel like Finn would still enjoy playing that in another 5 years' time when he's 12. So therefore, could it go the distance and go 10 years? More than likely. I think it's very unique, Quacks. I don't think anyone does that bag builder light, Euro-y, buying your own bits and all that in that one package as well as Quacks does. That's why we constantly refer to it. Everyone will say, oh, it's like Quacks, or it's a Quacks, or, Quacks gets mentioned all the time, especially around us. It's just a game that's going to stand the test of time. Yeah. I think it'll still be played in a decade. And I actually believe that in 10 years' time, Quacks will still be getting bought off the shelf.
Yeah, so I mean, the term for that is an evergreen, right? They talk about evergreen games.
Yes.
So Carcassonne, Catan, I'd even say something, it's obviously like Scythe. They're all evergreen games.
I actually think Scythe as well. I think Scythe is another major one. I think that has such interesting art style and interesting, quite simple core mechanics with the asymmetrical powers, but those boards that change each time you use it. So your movement is in a different spot and the different buildings are, it's got a great replayability. And I think that, I think Scythe is also another one that will be still being played in 10 years' time and still being bought in 10 years' time.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Good answers. What about you, Sazzle?
This is a weird question for me because I tend to buy games that I think I'll be playing in 10 years' time. So see my collection list. I think Barrage I will be, Bus I think I will be, or any of the Splatter games, Age of Steam I will be. I want to play Mage Knight in 10 years. Still be playing El Grande, War of the Ring
as well.
Taylor's all the T games. All those games, there's just so much to explore, and I guess that's kind of the benefit in the heavier games as well, because they take so long to actually develop a strategy and to see all the different options and things you can do in the game.
Yep.
That's the beauty of them, right? It takes so long and you don't have that much time, or at least I don't, to play games. So, I'll still be exploring them in 10 years. Whereas the lighter games you can play 100 times in a year and then go, okay, well, that's probably enough. Kind of, you know what I mean? But that's just me. But then there's other light games that, you'll be like, no, we're putting this on the shelf, and then in 10 years time, we're going to play it again. Like you're saying, Adrian, with Quacks. And, I have some like that as well. Like Decrypto, I'm never going to get rid of that because it's just brilliant.
It's the best word game ever made.
It's really so good. That. Yeah. And Letter Jam as well. There's quite a few word games actually that I have that, be amazing. Yeah.
I think
my whole collection.
I'm going to keep playing for 10 years. I think like with the word games, their faults sometimes are actually the reason why you can play them, because different people play them different ways. So it's like, I wouldn't have thought of doing or linking that word. That's so interesting. I'm going to do that next time when I play with a different group of people or whatever. So, they're fantastic answers. Cool. But it's not always up to us. It's up to you guys, and we'd love to hear from you either on Facebook or on Discord. So if you haven't joined either Facebook or Discord, please join our community on Facebook and our community on Discord, which leads me into my next part, or our next part, I should say, which is our community plug. So big thanks to our patrons who have joined recently. Jameis McNearney, apologise if I got that one wrong. Andrew Dunn, Mark Rickards, I don't know who that is. Chad W. Scarola, Scott Roby, shout out to Scott, another long-suffering maths teacher, as he said to me at the end of the game day the other day, and Lauren Ernfeld as well. But if you do want to support this podcast, you can always go to patreon.com/Board Game BBQ, sign up and donate to get access to exclusive podcast content for our patrons, giveaways, different community sessions that we do. For example, we talked about last week the Jackbox Party Pack that we do that Jace has run for us as well. So big shout out to Jace. And there are plenty of ways to support us without donating. You can go to Apple Podcasts and leave a star rating review for us. Dan still has a backlog of 5 stars he needs to read out. We've decided that a rap is not complicated enough for him. I think we should like do someone should come up with like a cryptic review for him.
Like a puzzle.
He's got to solve.
Yeah,
and
he'd love that.
He would love that.
Yeah.
I was thinking Latin. Yeah. Latin would be a good one.
Pig Latin. Write it in Pig Latin for
Well, I'll do.
You can use Spotify's new star rating system. New star rating system's been around for a while. It only takes a few seconds and means the world to us. As I said before, you get involved in the Board Game BBQ community by joining our Facebook community, following us on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube as well. YouTube now has a function to upload podcasts. We're going to be uploading podcasts on there, and it sounds fantastic. So please, if you'd like to follow us on there, and our Discord community where there's always games and conversations going on, get involved and support the show. Like I said, we're going to be giving away a couple of prizes because of our...
Did you just say beige? Did you just say we'll be giving away beige?
Did I say beige? I didn't mean to say beige. We're giving away beige. We're getting a couple of games.
Just hearing things.
It's like Freudian hearing.
Beige.
But all the links to our different communities are in our show notes.
We actually listened to the Patreon pod because I didn't have time to edit it, Connor. So I listened to it with Finn in the car, and I often don't listen to it. And it was one that when I told him what it was about, he was like, oh yeah, I want to listen to that. So we listened to it. He usually shuns away from. No, he has to pay. But that's fine. He's doing weeding for it. He's going to weed for a couple of hours in trade. But yeah, it was really fun. Like we got to talk about different subjects and stuff, and it was quite a big uproar in the Discord yesterday about it because everyone was jumping in with their views and points and stuff, which was great. Like that's why we love doing those random Patreon episodes, because it's like, I think that this is the best Disney song ever. And how could you leave that out of the top 10 Disney songs of all time?
10. Like, there's a limited number of spaces.
Like I said, it was harder than picking my top 10 board games. I'm not even kidding. Look at that. Look, when I picked my top 10 board games, no one ever gave me any grief.
Yeah.
But because I didn't have certain songs, they're like, how can you do that? You've left out all these songs. It's great. Like, that's the best bit of it.
James even called me a liar because I said I didn't like any of the songs from Nightmare Before Christmas. Hey, dude, I just don't like them. Don't at me.
Oh, is that for real?
Why are you lying? I was like, I'm not lying. This is for real.
So it's not your thing.
Not my thing. Not my jam. Give me. I'm not going to spoil who I did have. You need to become a patron and listen to it. But that's just some of the shenanigans that goes on with our patrons. All right, here we go. Accountability time, folks. Swearing of an oath. 80, what was your last oath and how did you go?
My last oath from memory was to do more painting.
Oh, yeah.
Was to paint my minis, especially from Jaws of the Lion. But I haven't had the chance to do it. Like, we've just been flat out busy. And, sorry, a plastic bag just flew past my window. Did you see that? You looked out the window for us to be like, oh, of course, that's what he's been busy with yard work. It's like, see, guys, like, this is what I've been busy with. I don't think this is you did a huge plastic bag like flew past my head. Any plastic bag. Okay, but I'll definitely get that done this week. But on the back of that, I would like to explore more of the Darwin's Journey game. I've now played it a bunch of times, and there's so much to explore in the base game. I completely agree with a few other people have said about the base game, but there's some expansion content in there that if I don't get to it now and I don't start to sort of check it out, it might be one of those things that just gets lost and it doesn't ever happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, more games come in, you're checking out other things, and you're like, oh, I never got a chance to add that expansion in. And I'd like to check that out. So, I mean, we did it just recently. MJ and I took a bit of a holiday and we drove down to Sydney itself. And on the way down, we took a bunch of games that we hadn't added the expansions into, and we just sort of did a bit of an expansion binge. And one was the new Arkham Horror 3rd edition, the latest expansion of that, which is almost like over a year old. But it was fantastic. Like, it was hard as, oh, wow. But, it's hard to sometimes get back to these old games and add these expansions in that have sat on your shelf for ages. So I'd like to try and, since Darwin Journey's pretty fresh, pretty hot, and other people want to try it, I want to try and add some of those expansions in and check them out.
Darwin's so hot right now. Cool.
Darwin be hot.
He's not. He's really not.
Well, I meant the city,
he's a skeleton.
Whatever.
Darwin. Yeah. Oh, Darwin. Yeah. Darwin.
I tricked everyone.
I know you weren't. I was listening.
Sarah, it's a bit rough.
I'm just trying to distract you.
A bit rough, really, isn't it? We even said last week
we
on
weren't
the
meant
show.
to be here.
Give us 2 weeks at least. Now, how did you go with your oath?
Not. No, because I've got the ongoing saga thing where I'm trying to play all of my Shelf of Shame,
the Sazzle Saga,
Sazzle Saga, yeah, Sazzle Sizzle Saga. So I haven't played it any more this week because I've been playing past the party food. But did I talk about Harry teaching me Imperial Steam? I think I did. I talked about that, right? Yeah. That already happened. Yeah, that was the last one that I'd done. But what I didn't talk about was Ghosts of Christmas and how good that was, which was a trick-taking game that you have to play 3 tricks at a time, right? Because you're playing to past, present, and future. But the cool thing about it is you're going, like, if you win the past one, then you take this first player token, and then when you do present, your card that's in present is the one that decides on who is winning that trick.
Hey, cool.
Yeah.
So even when in the phase where you are playing, this is the part I didn't talk about. Adrian's like, you already talked about this, but this is the part I didn't explain, is that when you're playing the tricks, if the person that was first then played green to present, and green was the one that everyone was meant to be following, and Connor, you played a blue, right? If you won the first trick, if you won past, then you get the first player, and then it's supposed to be your blue that's the lead trick for the present. Yeah. And so you could win that. So that is the really cool part that I didn't talk about.
That's very,
I want to explain. Yeah. It's so trippy. It's like, oh, wait, if I can win that first one, then I'll be leading this. Yeah. It's really tricky.
I get too fixated on particular things. I would battle, I think.
You'd be like, this is too many layers.
What happened to the hearts? Yeah, hearts, spades, clubs, and diamonds. Yeah. Cool. So are you going to continue
I haven't
with
played
this?
any. I am committed, Connor. I'm committed. Ooh. So I am going to continue. I've got people coming over on Tuesday. I'm going to force them to play one of these.
They're going to have to suffer through your...
They have to do it. It's part of the friendship agreement. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm not going to add anything more to it because I literally can't because they're all the games that I haven't played.
Until you buy some more. Very good. Well, I'm glad we can have some small bit of success in this segment.
Yeah.
My oath was to play Friday by Friedman Freeze, and I did. And I lost. Yeah. And it was brutal.
Of course you did.
Because you're not supposed to win that game. You're never supposed to get off the island. And just when you think that you're going to get off the island or you think, I'm up to the second one, you get absolutely pulverized. But yeah, that is so good. I think I put something up on the Discord. Number one, I can't believe I slept on it for so long. And number two, it's so clever for being so simple. It's just awesome. So you make a decision whether you want to win or lose a fight. If you lose if you win, you get the card, and the cards become a bit more powerful. If you lose, you can effectively forget some of the crappy things that have happened to you. So you might forget that you're tired. You might forget that you're clumsy. You might forget that you're disinterested, and you pay the life. And depending on how much life you play, you can get rid of some of the crummier cards. I thought that was really cool. Like that was just a good little, deck card shredder mechanism for that.
Right.
And
your cards at the start, how funny are they? Yeah, it's like you have 13 zeros and 1 and.
Well, and because I thought I was like, okay, so clearly I don't have to win all these first cards in the danger deck, or the encounter deck. So I was trying to lose them. But then what happens is once you run out of fight cards, you become aged. So it's like, well, I might only have like 3 or like 5 or 6 or 7 cards in my fight deck. But if I cycle through them too much, I get too old. And once you run out of age cards, you die because you've died on the island. But yeah, no, it's really, really clever. I can see why it's like people's number one solo game or most accessible solo game. But if you like solo games, you like really simple setup, definitely give this one a go.
I wonder though if like once you've beaten it a couple of times, you'll be like me and be like, I never want to see this thing again.
It's like, yeah, that's it. I'm done. Well, does anyone know? Has anyone beaten it?
Yeah, I've beaten it. I've beaten it once.
You've beaten it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the pirate ship that was 32 or whatever, and I was like, that was hard and took a lot of like luck as well as actually figuring out how to do it. And now I can't face it. No,
that's fair enough. But I think it's like any of those games where it's like, yep, I've done it, I've achieved it, whatever.
Yeah, but it is so hard. Yeah, it's a great challenge to set yourself.
Cool. So I've got something in Shrink that I've had in Shrink for ages.
What is it?
It's a huge game from last year. It is Endless Winter, the Paleo Americans. Oh. So I haven't even opened it. So it's been sitting there. I'm literally staring at it right now. So I think that's going to be my next oath because hopefully I'm on it on the show more than a week later. That would be nice. And I can have some time to play it. But it's a shame I'm not coming up to Sydney on Tuesday. Otherwise, I'd rope people into playing it. Maybe even you, Sarah.
I've played it.
Yeah, well, you can play it again. You can teach me.
No.
What about Block and Key?
I've got to play it. I've got my oath I have to do.
Block and Key
Which you can't be doing yours as well.
I was part of her oath once. It was to teach. She taught me bus.
Right, that's true. Wait, really?
Yeah,
I hopped in on that as well.
That was your oath, wasn't it? Me teaching you.
Was it?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. It was your oath to teach me bus, but then my oath might have been to learn bus. Anyway,
right.
You know who would know whose it was? Who could sort this out for us? James. James should sort this out for us.
Yeah, James.
Let us know, James. Very good. All right. So not an overly successful swear and oath segment, but that does bring us to the end of our episode. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Adrian.
That was fun.
No worries.
It was
Thank
fun.
you.
Heaps of fun as always. Heaps of good stuff coming up. And I just wanted to, again, a big shout out to our Patrons for supporting us. Means a lot. Yes, thank you. Thank you to all our listeners. We really enjoy doing this stuff. We love running the game days. And hope you can get some games in the future. And we'll see you all again next time. Bye.
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 Of which Sarah's been interrupted by the party food eater.
I need some food.
You said food. Mom. Yeah, you said food.
Where's the food, Mum?
Well, that was a classic. It was like she knew we were talking about. Actually, she probably did know that.
You said food, and then she was like,
and she was like, "What? Party food? Oh, party food.
Party food? Fairy bread? Let's go."